Today is going to be a little bit shorter of an episode, but it's primarily because we have some small tasks that need to be taken care of, well, before we can technically go back home. Now, last episode definitely made me feel a lot better about the area that I'm currently in, even though we are still locked where we currently are at. However, we are going to still push forward, and today we need to dive a little bit further into NauTec and kind of ruffle Poseidon's feathers. See, there are some crystals that we need to, well, take control of. And I think I still have, yes, the NauTec location ready to go. So back here, this crystal right here is ultimately what we need to steal, technically, to be able to, well, get the trophy so that way we can move out. But this is also going to mean that we have to dive a little deeper into this mod, a little bit further than we've already done. Thankfully, though, our main infrastructure for this is already up. We just have a mixer down here. And this is already functioning. So how exactly are we going to do this? Well, we need to dive into the tools that this mod adds. Now, to do this and even be able to make the tool, we need to craft up some etching acid. And this etching acid is what's going to allow us to make these gears, because the gears that we currently have are not compatible with this. We have to use these rusty gears that we found that were in here. But it does look like there is a recipe here. With a little bit of pressurized air bottle, we can also make more rusty gears. But yes, they are usually located inside of these barrels. Now, something else that can be done in the etching acid is this rusty crate. So all of these rusty crates we can actually open, so long as we have a crowbar, after we dump this into the etching acid. So let's go ahead and make this etching acid, right? We got that ready to go. It requires like a pufferfish and such, and we just place it down in the ground, just like that. First things first, though, I do want to toss in the gear because that's the most important. And yeah, let's see. We have to leave it in there for a hot second, making sure our magnet is turned off. After a minute or so, the hopes is that it does convert. And there it goes. So perfect. We have a regular gear now. So same thing with the crate. We can drop the crate in, and I think there is a chance that the etching acid will get consumed. Depending on the operation, depending on how many times you've done this. But there we go. We have another crate, and same with this crate, right? So back into the NauTec mod, right? We should have a crowbar that we were given, and the etching acid is gone now. But now we have two crates, right? So these are the same crates as the other one now, but we actually unlock them, and we can open them up, and we get even more goodies. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Yes. Oh, and look, hey, a burnt coil for literally free. Now, there's still a lot more to do here, right? We need to make a tool to be able to break this thing. Ultimately, what we need is we need this pickaxe right here, but we need its special ability to be activated. So that is going to be a challenge all in itself, right? Because to be able to activate this pickaxe, it takes a little bit of setup in order to do. But first things first, let's just actually make the pickaxe, right? So we are going to need, it looks like, some cast iron rods. That's pretty straightforward. But then we also need the laser channeling coil. And this is where we have to do the item transformation again. And we have to ignite this thing right here to get this up and running. So let's feed this a few of these things. And we need to quickly, and I mean quickly, down here where the laser beam should be shooting out of, which it's still not for some reason, we need to go ahead and toss this item down. So it is still going to toss down here. We just have to toss it in there. Unfortunately, the beam just doesn't show up. I still don't know why, but there we go. After a hot second, that should convert. There it goes. Perfect. So now it is done, and what I want to do is actually take these out because it's just going to use up all of my prismarine if I don't. There we go. And those are out, and now we can actually build this pickaxe. So now that we have the pickaxe, there's a couple of things needed, right? We need to charge it, and we got to do that via a charger, which is this thing right here, which is going to need another one of these coils. Thankfully, we can just make these coils, which is kind of nice. I don't think that is going to... Oh, it is going to continue to charge. Ooh, even with the lasers gone? Okay. I'll take it. I'll take it. Perfect. So now we have free charging, I guess. I have no idea. There may have been residual power, but this is going to be required for a charger. And we are going to need a little bit more prismarine, it looks like. And that means I am back to converting this into prismarine yet again. So perfect. Now that we have ourselves a charger, we can charge this up, but we're still not done yet because we are going to need the electrolyte algium serum or algae serum. Yeah, it's algae serum, right? And this is a little bit more in depth as we do need to place this in the mixer. Thankfully, the mixer, like I said, is so much easier to use now. But we need salt water. We need some of these ingredients you see right here in this order. And first, of course, salt water. And this is going to come from Mechanism Salt, it looks like. And yeah, in water. And we get salt by simply cooking up some water. So now that I have a little bit of salt, I can infuse that salt into our water over here just by regular mixing it in. I love how these recipes just actually make so much sense. And then that should put our water into the container here, in which we should be able to scoop out. There we go. Oh, wait, right, that's right, tank. We need to actually put it into a tank, where it needs a tank to go into, right? Will this not go in there? Why is this, it's in bucket mode. There we go. Perfect, so there's our salt water. And I think as of right now, we just need one bucket. We might have to come back and make more. I am making more salt just in case, but the main thing we need to do now is just simply mix this up so we can make the electrolyte algae serum that we need to, well, quote unquote, infuse our pickaxe with, aka I think just drop it into. So I guess without further ado, we'll place our mixer back down. We need to give this some of that salt water, place all of the ingredients in, and then just get this thing powered up. So just again, we'll make sure to run all of this. And as soon as all of it's done, that should mix up. And then we just need to bucket the product out. Perfect. All right. There we go. Scooped it up. All right. So now that we have this in a bucket, we should be able to place this back down. And I'm thinking it just works like the other stuff where we just toss our pick in here. Oh. And we wait. It's doing a thing. It's making noises. And it consumed it. Beautiful. Is it done though? Okay. Yeah. It says, I think status. I think it's fully, it says mine ability or ability mine, but it has always said that. I'm assuming that it is shift right click to enable. Uh-huh. The ability is ready to go. Okay, so we unlock the ability and we have to have it in this hammering mode in order to actually break this. But now we also need power to be able to charge this. So, well, the power is going to have to come from that charger that we just made. And I'm assuming we can just break this for now, swap this out, and then put our pick in there, and there it goes. It's now charging it up. And if we pull it out, you can see the charge building up inside. Okay. Now, this pickaxe, by the way, is another unbreakable tool, but I mean, we're using the atomic dissimilar. The main goal here, though, is to really just be able to break this crystal. Well, not this one, but another crystal. It's one of the major things we need, right? And there we go. So we now have our aquarine steel pickaxe ready to rock and roll and ready to break up some of these crystals. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be the stone crystal geode that we're actually hunting for. And there is one right over here, but we are going to need to head off in another direction and then search for a new one. And it shows there is one technically right down in here. So if we head down, there is another one. And so we should just be able to poke and prod, right? Until we get down to one, we just have to poke and prod all over the place, essentially, hoping that we find it. Yeah, it could take a while. I mean, I say take a while. I mean, it should be right here, right? It should be in this area that's all, like, exposed. Come on now. You gotta be down here somewhere. Maybe there's a chance for it to not have it. I mean, I guess we just keep searching. We just keep looking. Eventually, we will find it. Eventually, right? I mean, let's just keep hunting. I say we just get down where we can mine, and we just keep mining until we find this thing. Just like that. There we go, perfect. So now that I've found it, all we gotta do is use our ability, and then we break it. And that's how we do it. And you end up getting maybe more than one. Yeah, it looks like we got more than one here. Very, very nice. And that, my friends, is one more achievement done. This one right here. All we have to do now is check mark and we're ready to go. And so now that we have this, all we're going to have to do is, well, complete our check mark and grab our trophy. Look at that. So let's go ahead and now get this down to our rift portal. Oh man, and just add it to the list. We can go ahead and place it right there. Look how nice it's looking. Okay, so this is all going over very, very well, or at least I feel like it's going over very well. Let's go ahead and get a portal set into place. Now, there is another one that we should be able to easily set up. I mean, these two actually should be relatively easy for us to actually gain. So let's head back. And the only thing I need to do here is we just simply need to make the empowered versions of these. Now, before we move on to the next section, I do want to talk a little bit about what is this even used for? Like, why did we even get the prismarine? Well, it is used to be able to make the augmentation station primarily outside of just the gear and stuff. And the augmentation station allows you to modify your player. Like, for example, you can give yourself some lungs that allows you to breathe underwater, but it modifies you directly, not something that is toggleable with gear and so on and so forth. It's pretty neat. I recommend diving into it a little bit. Not something I really want to do, for example, in this playthrough, considering where we're at in our current gear, but it is a pretty interesting little mechanic. But now that we're here, we essentially just need to make a few of these, right? So we need to gather all of these individual items here. Oh, it is kind of unfortunate that we don't have a bookmark here. That would have made this a lot better, but I can easily just remember the 4 items needed. Of course, getting redstonia, that's super straightforward. And then red dye, right? That's the other mechanic or other one we need. We also need clay or bricks. Yeah, we just need some bricks, and we also need nether bricks, so netherrack. And I tell you what, this spell right here, the smelt spell, is one of my favorites in ours. And yeah, we can just basically smelt anything on the fly. But now with these full powers combined, we will be able to make ourselves empowered redstonia. So yes, it needs a little bit of power to make this, just like all of our other components that we've done this way. And there we go. So I've got this one, and there's a few others left, right, that we have to do. We have to do these 4, because at some point we must have gotten the empowered versions of the other ones. Yeah, we've got these, I think, from looting inside the rift. Now, we do need to get snow for the iron. Now, snowballs we can get a lot of different ways. You can easily get it with an entropy manipulator. Basically, flowing water, you just shift right click and it just infinitely produces snowballs. But you know what? It kind of is hilarious making snow like this, with it just laying it out on the floor and then being able to pick up the snow. You know what? I thought it was funny. And then we need to empower the Inori. Looks like some gray, cobblestone, a button, very simple. These are all the standard recipes, by the way, from Actual Editions. Man, all those years ago, back in like 112. I can't believe how long it has been. But it is still kind of odd seeing this mod back, and I've wanted it back for quite a while. It is kind of a cool little mod. But you know what I missed the most that isn't back from the mod? The crates. That was one of the best things from Actual Editions, was literally the crates. And this recipe is making me run all over the base today because I need to bone meal and shear some grass for the next recipe. That one's going to be any sapling, short grass, some slime, and then lime, and then an emeraldatic crystal. So just emerald essentially placed in front of the atomic reconstructor. And voila, that one's done. And last but not least, the palace crystal being empowered. And this one's probably the simplest out of all of them, just requiring some prismarine, but of course it is just lapis. And there we go. So that is now done. And the Actual Editions chapter apparently is now completed. Very, very nice. So all of this, we can now check mark that, and we get an empowered diamantine crystal block trophy. Fantastic. And with that, this one can now be placed just like the rest. Very, very fancy. Now, as far as the other component goes, which is essentially being able to make the particle accelerator, we really just need to make the particle accelerator, the base part. But I'm wondering, do I have the ingredients for that? I mean, oh yeah, I do. Hey, looky there. I think I have literally everything to be able to make for this, because we've gone through all of this to be able to prep for this stuff in the first place. So yeah, we are able to make this thing. So I need a particle accelerator linear motor. My goodness, that is a mouthful, isn't it? And then outside of that, we just need the gates and then the Durathium. I think I'm saying that right. The Durathium, and there is a particle accelerator. And all the quest is looking for is if we just simply have crafted it. Which, to be fair, it does require quite a bit to craft. We did go through all of this. Superconductors are kind of a pain to make. And also all of these other materials, kind of. Now, I've not used the particle accelerator, but it's just a single block as of right now, right? Yeah, it is. It is just a single block, but it does technically have a multi-block, and it is very complex, by the way. And I don't even know, like, do we really need this? I still don't know fully where this pack is going. Are we already almost done with the pack? Like, are we about to go home? Like, that's the part that I'm confused about. Maybe so. And so I guess with that, we can go ahead and slap our trophy on there. And look at that beauty right there. A particle accelerator that I know nothing about, other than the fact that the documentation on the mod's website is absolutely ridiculous for this thing. Oh yeah, and there's a little something too, right? About potentially making black holes. Yeah, that's a thing. So now we've gotten all of the easy stuff out of the way. Now what's left is us taking on the Leviathan and also taking on Ignis, which I think we will be able to probably do quite easily, considering all of the stuff that we have available to us. For example, ours to be able to attack these things and take a lot of damage. But the thing that I think is going to be one of the hardest things to make is literally the ultimate auto crafter. And that's because I have 0 auto crafting set up, and this thing is quite expensive. Like, besides the singularity part, that's actually not super difficult to do. We can generate those incredibly quick. But it's just the sheer amount of components that are going to be needed to craft this. For example, the 256K storage components that are required for every single one of these crafts. So you can see 4 of them are going to be needed to make one of these. So that's quite a bit, right? And then we also need 4 of those. It's a lot. Like, all of these components are going to require quite a bit of the 256. Now, it shouldn't be too bad for us to make this considering the upgrades that we have, but it's probably going to take an entire episode to dedicate just to getting that thing crafted. And so I hope you guys are looking forward to all of the tips and tricks as I have to transform this setup right here into, well, a more sustainable auto crafting solution. But we should be able to fit most of the things needed for the auto crafting right in this room. And so the only other thing left to do after that, well, is going to be taking on another 2 bosses. And I'm assuming we find them in our world here. I never, out of all of the exploring I've done, I never discovered this. And I think my map has also been reset in an update. But yeah, I never ended up like finding any of those structures, whether that was in the Nether or what have you. So we're probably going to have to go exploring with our compass to potentially find those structures. They are quite large, and that's going to be kind of a journey, but for another episode. And I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Of course, if you did, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and well, give this video a huge thumbs up. And with that being said, it is now time to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. That amazing thanks is going to go out to none other than Legs. Thank you so much, by the way, for your amazing support and choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member, and of course, supporting me in one of the best ways possible, and absolutely going above and beyond. Guys, be sure, if you haven't already, check me out over on Twitch, twitch.tv/ChosenArchitect. You can find me live most days out of the week. And also, be sure to join the Discord. All of that linked down in the description below. And guys, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And as always, thanks for watching.